wasn't recording. This is me. Hello. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Let me get this vlogging thing down. Don't quite get it yet. Or get it. So yeah. So there we are. It's a little chilly out here still. Not quite as warm as I'd like it to be, but it's warming up. We can actually get outside and relax during this quarantine that we've got going on, or social distancing, I guess you can say. For me, it's very, very important for me to be social distancing.
Hey.
I have a condition that makes it a little bit more likely that I'd get it and I'd have the worst strain and possibly die from what's going on right now. That is why we stay inside. Listen to your government, listen to your doctors, listen to medical professionals. I know some of you guys think it's not a big deal, but it is. It's a huge, 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 huge deal. So, yeah, let's stay inside. Stay away from people.
Hi.
Stay inside. Well,
Stay inside.
social distancing. You can get outside, but make sure you stay, 6 feet from people.
Try to stay outside.
Inside.
Inside. It's starting to rain on us. So that's our cue to go inside.
I can't feel it.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
So we thought we'd start off with, apparently the dog's gonna bark at us.
Did I startle you?
We're gonna start off with talking about valley fever.
Because it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
The best.
If most of you don't know, I have what's called valley fever, or
Coccidioides.
Coxy is what's short.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. It's a tough one to say. It's a fungal infection that
Most people just experience it as like a cold or something, and then they get over it. Unfortunately, a small percentage of people, it disseminates into their bloodstream, goes into their joints and such, and bad news bears happen.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed in January of 2018.
Contracted it in November of 2017.
October 2017.
Oh, did you say that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
October of 2017 for when I got it.
I thought it was November when
I
we were
think it
raking
was-
the yard.
No, we were doing that in October.
Oh.
Because we went on my birthday. My parents surprised me and came for my birthday to Arizona, where we used to live. And
Which is where a majority of this stuff happens, is in
California,
the southwestern United States.
Desert climates. And I was feeling sick. And just felt tired and
Had a very persistent cough, and it wasn't great.
yeah, it was just kind of, I felt just off, and a rash. I started getting a rash and my joints started to hurt.
The joints were after the steroid.
Oh. Nope. I was swollen. I was really, really swollen. And
That's true, I do remember that.
Yep. And so that was in October, and I think it was when we were planting a grass a grass. We were planting our yard with grass.
So our back when we moved into the rental house in Arizona, the backyard was a wreck because the sprinklers were broken, so the grass was all dead, and so we had to just rake it by hand so we could plant new grass. Watered it down, raked it, watered it down some more, and then planted seed there. Well, when we did that, it was kicking up a lot of dust in the air, and that's where these little fungal spores live, is in the dust. They float around in the air.
And you breathe it in, and that's how you get it. Most people don't realize, don't feel it, don't know that they have it. They just think it's a cold. Most people, but there is a good group that I'm in, a support group, that there's a lot that it is not just the cold. It's called disseminated, which Nate mentioned earlier. It gets in your bloodstream. Usually you have a high level of what's called a teeter, right? Teeter, is that the right word? Mine's been low, but mine got in the bloodstream and flared really fast because when I was experiencing the first symptoms in about November,
just before Thanksgiving,
I was like, well, we're about ready to go on a 12-hour car ride. I need to figure out what's going on, see what we can figure out. Found out that they're just thinking, oh, well, it's just a cold, we'll just give you some steroids, it's a rash, it will take the rash away too, and the swelling and stuff will go down.
That'll solve it.
And that'll solve it. Knowing what I do now, urgent care people living in those types of states, in those climates, knowing that there's valley fever, most people don't know about it. They've heard of it. They kind of, oh, it's just cold. Medical professionals should know not to give a steroid in those kind of climates if they have cough, rash, joint pain, like redness. Like I was hot. They were hot and swollen and red.
The reason why they should not be prescribing steroids is because a steroid with valley fever is like gasoline on a fire.
It's horrible. So it just flared it. When we got back from Thanksgiving, because I felt better, once the steroid wore off, I started having the symptoms again. I was tired. I was joint pain. I could barely walk. Found a doctor, went to him. They tested me for a lot of things. Autoimmune diseases, Lyme disease, strep throat. So not strep throat like through the,
Lupus.
like a WAP. Yes, they did test me for lupus. Not a swab, but they were testing me for rheumatic fever. Is that what strep throat turns into? So they tested me for that just in case I hadn't got treated for strep throat. They thought maybe that's what I had and that I just didn't get treated for it. So they did that. The doctor put me on another steroid because they're like, well, that gave you symptom relief, so we might as well give that to you so you can have some symptom relief. Later, he did apologize when he realized what he did. He said, we are so sorry. I should never, ever have prescribed a steroid, but we didn't think you would have it. The reason why, he said, we don't think you'd ever have it, because they have been told you have to live there for more than 2 years to contract it. It is a lie. Tourists can come into those places, inhale a spore when the wind is blowing, or kicked up the dust, or carried into a house and kick it up off their shoe. They can breathe it in, get it, and you haven't lived there before. We had only lived there for 6 months.
Yep.
When I got it. So
lots of misinformation.
Misinformation. It is uncurable. I will always have it.
At least currently.
It can go dormant. And it did once. I'm on my second round of it. It's back. And so yeah, we're just dealing with that, and the doctor did apologize, and just a lot of things have come up since getting valley fever that we're not really going to go into right now. I mean, as we vlog more, we'll tell you more about my health issues. As you can see, redness because of my medication. I don't know if you can really see that in the video.
Makes her sensitive to the sun.
Very sensitive. Like, I could just be through a window and it can get me.
We've got partial sunlight today. It's very cloudy,
Yeah,
but
very
still
cloudy,
enough to...
Yep. But I made sure I had my hood on when I was outside to cover my neck. I have foundation on that has sunscreen in it, a little sunscreen in it. So I should be a little bit more protected on my face, but I usually wear an SPF like 110 or higher because I have to. Or I get really sunburned and it hurts. Like it hurts. It hurts right now. It just feels like my skin is tight. But anyways, we're not going to go into all that right now. So just know that valley fever is out there and you should be aware. It is starting to creep this way. My new doctor where we moved back to Idaho. This is where I grew up. Nate grew up in Utah. And then Nate's family all moved to Arizona over the last few years.
Almost a decade now.
So they're all there. We were all there. We all lived there for a little bit. But to get me healthy and the symptoms to diminish, we moved back to Idaho where they said that the climate should be different and help. So we did that. And so here we are in Idaho and we're just trying to live life. And right now there is what we can't say it.
Yeah. Well,
what's going on right now.
Everyone's been advised to socially isolate.
Or social distancing.
Thank you.
Or isolate or quarantine or whatever you want to call it.
There's a reason for that.
There is.
Because the combination of the medication she's on and also the disease itself.
Because it causes lung problems. The valley fever. We didn't go into this. But I have what is a nodule on my lung. I'm one of the luckier ones. I think the steroid helped it not be in my lungs. It just made it spread through my body instead of sticking in my lungs.
And her body reacted fairly quickly and made a nice hard shell over the spore that was in her lungs.
Yeah, so that's
her nodule.
My nodule in my lung. So if I were to get what's going on right now, she would have complications from it. She's one of the immunocompromised people that shouldn't get it. Well, not immunocompromised. I was doing more research. I'm more susceptible to it. My immune system isn't as healthy as it should be. Not necessarily compromised, but...
Well, if it's not as healthy as it should be, I would say that's compromised.
Like, if I get it, I would have to be incubated. I would have to go to the hospital. I wouldn't just be able to live at home and quarantine myself at home and get over it. I would have to go to the hospital. Hopefully, there would be a hospital bed for me, and a ventilator, to get me through it, and
put you in an iron lung,
and possibly it would.
Could sound like Darth Vader.
I wouldn't be here. So, for those people, I already kind of said something when we were outside riding our bikes. Stay home. Isolate.
Even if you'd be fine, not everyone else will be.
You could take it to the people that wouldn't be. Older generation, it's worse for them. There are people that are younger that do not have the immune system to be able to kick it off and to fight it. So we encourage you to stay home. We'll cut this because it is getting kind of long. But anyways, so this is our intro. This is what we're at right now, and when time comes on, we'll do more. We'll do another one with our feelings of how things are. That was just getting what it is out there. If you want to look at our blog, we'll post it wherever
in the description.
In the description,
should be down below,
or
probably below.
Wherever it goes, we'll figure this out. So, all right, bye guys.
Bye. And in case you hadn't noticed, today is our daughter's 8th birthday, and she got some hair chalk for her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So she has been sharing.
So,
a little bit right there. I got some blue. I think that's the blue side.
Yep, and then on this
green,
side,
and right over here.
So she loves it. So she's been trying to get Grandma and Grandpa to let them have it in theirs, and they don't want to do it right now. But anyways,
there you go. That's why her hair is
colory,
colorful, and vibrant.
But before too long, maybe I'll just dye my hair color.
I'm okay with that. I have no problems. All right, thanks. Bye.